Until about 2 years ago, I was the CEO of a company called Advantage IQ. Advantage IQ is a subsidiary of Avista Corp. I have a wife, Natalie, who we've been married 20 years. We have 4 boys, ages 15 down to 8. As you might imagine, being the CEO of a company has its certain demands, and my wife and I were homeschooling our children, and in fact, she was doing all the homeschooling while I was traveling and on the East Coast and trying to run a business. And I've always had a great heart to want to be involved in ministry and missions, but never really have been able to carve out the time to do it. And so that began to weigh on me heavily. And about 4 years ago, Keith Davis from IAP and a group invited me to get involved with the Ethiopian ministry, the microfinance ministry, and asked if I would just sit in on a few meetings and bring some perspective to the project. Unbeknownst to me, that one meeting became a series of meetings over a couple of years to the point where one fall I decided to go over to Ethiopia. And it really changed my heart for the lost. It changed my heart for the poorest of the poor. I loved the notion that IAP was all about developing business to fund ministry. All my life I've been involved in running companies and growing and developing businesses. And I love doing that. I love the strategy. I love working in teams. I love just everything about growing something. And here was an opportunity where I could take some of that business background and business acumen and apply it to eternal things, apply it to the kingdom. That was very exciting for me. And I didn't know there were ministry opportunities out there like that, where you could take business people that have a heart for building and growing business and turn that into helping the poorest of the poor. So after a couple of years of meetings, I got to a point, I was in the Cincinnatian Hotel, downtown Cincinnati. I just finished a board meeting, we had just got done buying a company, and everything was going very well with the business. But yet inside, I was feeling empty. And I felt like God was calling me into a much greater and larger role with IAP. And I began to struggle and wrestle with how could I, or should I, continue to do what I was doing in corporate life, or should I redirect what I was doing and really get much more involved with IAP? And that's the crossroad I found myself at, by myself, on my knees in a hotel room. And as it turned out, I went to the board soon thereafter and decided to submit my resignation. Over a period of 4 to 6 months, I transitioned out of that role and out of that business role, and then soon thereafter was asked to join the board at IAP. I've been on that board for a couple of years now. This past year I was asked to chair the board, and it has been extremely special. Many of those folks were a bit befuddled by the decision to step away and to get involved in ministry. As I've had a chance over the last couple of years to reconnect with so many of those good friends, Christian business leaders, non-Christian business leaders, good friends, people that I had association with, it's been a wonderful experience to be able to sit down and say, here's what the Lord has me pursuing. Here's what God did in my life. Here's how my heart has been changed. And some of that really resonates with people, some not so much. But you know what? The Lord is doing a work in each one of those meetings. And there are so many people that I've found are looking for some sort of eternal significance, especially as they near the twilight of their business career. Those men and women that I'm meeting with are asking, there's got to be more. it's not just all about the next thing. What is it that I could be involved with that could really fuel a heart and a fire that I've never felt before? And people ask you that, and they say that. We have just a wonderful group of people that love the Lord and love serving people. And we have 3 different projects. One in Ethiopia, we've talked a bit about microfinance. We've got a children's home in northern Ghana, 38 kids that we support through a variety of different ways, through a committed team of people that really drive and support that ministry. We also have a very unique individual and ministry in Costa Rica that we support. And so those are all 3 wonderful examples of business as mission, developing business to fund ministry. It's really very simple, and that's the lens, that's the vision that we try to walk through any time we're faced with opportunities to get involved in ministries throughout the world. We take it through that lens and through that funnel. Does this help us to grow a business that will ultimately be self-sustaining and fund ministry and meet the needs of the poor? That's what I'm doing today, and I absolutely love it. Being involved with IEP is a wonderful platform to be able to say, let's go to Ghana. You should see Costa Rica. This farm is incubating 75,000 chicks a week. $300,000 last year went to funding inner city children's centers in San Jose, Costa Rica. Kids that would be on the street that would not have food to eat are being fed and are being taught in schools and are being cared for. And because you have committed people, committed believers, committed business people who are running businesses for the kingdom. And it's such a sweet place. My story is just one of thousands. There are people all over this world, all over this country, all over our state and city who have pursued kingdom purposes in a variety of different ways. I'm not sitting here saying you've got to leave your job and pack up and go do this. No, in fact, the Lord called me into the business community for 27 years because that was a mission field in and of itself. I was reading 1 Thessalonians the other day, and chapter 5, verses 6 through 18 talks about God's will. And oftentimes we try to discern, what is God's will for my life? What should I be doing? I've got these key decisions. How should I make those decisions? And you know what Thessalonians says about God's will? It says, be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. As somebody listening out there thinks about, I want to do something for the kingdom, I want to do something greater, start there. Start by letting all those around you see you praying and giving thanks in all circumstances. Show them a joyful spirit. Let the aroma of Christ dwell in you. And then as you pursue a landscape of opportunities, and whether it's IAP or any number of ways to give back, that will be the frame of mind that you want to be in to pursue those kinds of opportunities. I am just really thankful for the opportunity to serve alongside, as I said, just a committed board. I'm so thankful for being able to just be a husband and try to be there for my wife. And I've got 4 boys who, are watching. And I think as moms and dads and husbands and wives, I think it's important that we just try to live what we believe. And oftentimes I find myself selfish and hypocritical and in places I don't need to be as a believer in Christ. But you know what? The Lord pulls us out of that. And He helps us be a light to those watching and it starts with our families. So for those of you out there, commit to being a great husband. Commit to being there for your kids and just being there and encouraging. And the Lord will use that in powerful ways.